Joyquilts. Today we're doing a edge-to-edge design. We're using a pattern called Sweet Pea. It comes in two blocks of two, so it's two repeats stuck together, so it's a rectangular pattern. So sometimes it's just a little trickier to fit one of these on the quilt surface and not stretch and skew it out of shape. But this one worked out fine. I'm just going to pull up the bobbin thread and off it goes. Quilting with poly sheen thread. I have a lighter color on the top than on the bottom, because the bottom is a black tone on tone and a couple of different fabrics mixed in. Gray seemed to be the natural color choice for this. It could be in either or quilt, male or female, doesn't really matter. It actually is a charity quilt, so it kind of gets left up to us what we want to do with it. So this is an edge-to-edge pattern. What I did was I took it and reversed every other row, because when it starts at the same side each time, it tends to be kind of repetitive on the quilt. A lot of them we have to take into the software, divide in the middle, and reverse that way. But this was just a nice one because it's full on both ends, just different. So it was a nice one just to reverse and reject. And then we squished it up a little closer to get one more row in because there was a lot of spacing between the rows. You don't want too much free space. We use Hobbs heirloom batting a lot, which recommends a maximum quilting distance of 4 inches. So you really want to make sure you stay within that. Bernina Q24 software allows you a lot of options with placement. You can actually go into the screen and see on your screen what it's going to look like on your quilt, so you can decide how close to put your rows and whether you can stretch and skew them or they're going to look strange. So a lot of times we'll rethink it after we've seen it on the computer screen, but this one's pretty good. We use this one a lot. It kind of looks like a feather. I don't know where the name Sweet Pea came from, but it's more like a feather to us. So again, we're using the SUK ballpoint needles. There are different ballpoint needles. We like the SUK one because it has a particularly flat end to it, so it will separate the fibers, not pierce through them, because our machines do so really quickly. We have speeded this one up to about 70% of capacity. It's kind of a comfortable speed. Aren't a lot of intersections to bump over on this quilt, which is nice. If you have something with a lot of piecing, like for example the Cabin in the Pines, we tend to go a little slower because the machine can bump over those intersections and skip stitches, because it does kind of flag over them. Again, we floated the quilt top, which means we didn't pin it down top or bottom. The reason, again, that we like to do that is it keeps it not stretched. So the way it lays is the way it's going to come off when it comes off your frame. If you stretch them, there's a tendency to make them too tight. And then when you take them off the frame, they kind of spring back. And that can make kind of a bumpy surface. Of course, we stretch the back because we want to make sure that that's nice and flat. We don't usually use the side anchors because that tends to do the same thing. It stretches too tight, and then when you release them, it springs back and you get puckers in your back. Every row we check the batting to make sure that it's nice and flat still. And if it's not, because the top is floating, it's really simple to fix. You just lift the top forward and stretch the batting out to be flat. We use pins in the top rail because we don't have it pinned on the edges of the quilt, so that when we roll the quilt we can check and make sure that it's still square. It's very difficult sometimes to see over the distance whether your quilt is laying square on the frame or not. So these pins, when we pull them up, will actually make sure that that's happening. I'll show you how that is. Oh, tied off. Works way better when it's not clamped in. So that goes like that. and the other one will balance on the other side. If it doesn't balance on the other side, then you've got to figure out why. Sometimes the quilt tends to pull in a bit more in the center. You can adjust it sometimes, and other times you just have to alter your design to fit into that safe area properly. The object of it is to really be the same distance from all your edges, if possible. We like to stay about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch in from the edge. 1/4 inch is taken up with binding, maybe a 1/4 inch comes out with trimming, which kind of leaves you about that 1/4 inch away from your quilt edge. Don't like to quilt over the edges. I feel that way you're trimming things off and you're weakening the integrity of the stitches. We'd like to end our design inside the quilts. I guess because I came from hand quilting, and that's what we always did. You would never stitch under where you're going to put binding. You just fill it, it gives it a nicer finish. So now we're starting to move out of the frame. That's it for this one.